Hi there, my name's Adrian. Welcome to another blues rhythm guitar lesson. In today's lesson we're going to be looking at the 8-bar blues. I think that all of the pieces we've looked at so far in this series of lessons have been 12-bar blues, and that's certainly the most common blues form, but it's not the only way of doing things. You've got the 8-bar blues, which is reasonably common. You've got the 16-bar blues. In fact, if you go back and listen to some of the old country blues guys, they seem to disregard the form altogether, and they don't seem to have any concept of bars kind of changing chords when they feel like it, which is a perfectly valid approach to things. But today we're going to be concerning ourselves with the 8-bar blues. Now, an 8-bar blues would look something like this if we check it out in terms of Roman numeral analysis. You can see we're starting with the 1 chord for a bar, then it goes to the 5 chord. We've got 2 bars on the 4 chord, and then we've got the 1 chord for a bar, the 5 chord for a bar, the 1 chord for a bar, and then ends with a bar on the 5 chord for the turnaround. So that's a typical 8-bar blues form. There are some variations on this, but this is by far the most common, used in many different songs. Probably the most famous 8-bar blues song is a song called Key to the Highway, which has been recorded by many great blues players. Famously, Eric Clapton did it on his Layla album, but it's also been done by Muddy Waters, I think, and I know a Freddie King version as well, which is really good. So the piece we're going to look at today is kind of loosely inspired by the Key to the Highway song. So before we get into exactly what I was playing at the top of the lesson, let's just go through the 8-bar blues just using some very basic chords. We're in the key of A today, so the 1 chord is going to be where's my guitar sound gone? So I've got my tuner switched on. Oh, that's better. The 1 chord is a bar of A7. Then we're going to go to the 5 chord, which is going to be E7. Then we've got the 4 chord, D7, for a couple of bars. Then we've got the 1 chord, A7, to the 5, 1, and then the 5 brings us back round again to the top. So that's the basic outline of the chord changes. So now I'm just going to take you through a couple of different ways to play over this 8-bar blues chord progression. We're in the key of A here, and the first approach is using our familiar 2-note shuffle pattern that we've come across in previous lessons. And this is fairly straightforward. We've got a bar of A, and if you remember, we're playing the open A string together with the 2nd fret on the D string. Play that twice, and we're putting our 3rd finger down on the 4th fret of the D string. We've got a bar of that. Then we go to the 5 chord, which is E. So our E pattern is this. The same thing moved over to the 5th and 6th strings. Then for D, playing the same thing on the 3rd and 4th strings. Back to the 1 chord, 5 chord, 1, 5. And you might want to give that a little bit of palm muting just to give it a bit of a tougher sound. So that should all be fairly straightforward. If you don't already know how to do that, you might want to check out some earlier lessons in this series where I explain that in a bit more depth. One thing you can try is adding in a turnaround lick in the last bar of this 8-bar blues, and the turnaround I was playing earlier was this one, which is a classic blues turnaround, used a lot by people like Robert Johnson. You hear that on quite a few of his songs, and it goes like this. We're just playing this in the last bar of the 8-bar blues. Just going to play 1 A power chord, the open A string, 2nd fret on the D string. Then we're moving up to this shape here. Our little finger is playing the 5th fret on the high E string, and our third finger is playing the 5th fret on the D string. That's our starting shape for the turnaround. And what's going to happen is we're just going to keep the top note, the note on the 1st string, the same, whilst we descend chromatically on the 4th string. So we're going from the 5th fret to the 4th fret to the 3rd fret to the 2nd fret on the D string. And we're going to make the rhythm a bit more interesting. I think the rhythm I played was this one. And to do that, we're going to need to use a pick and fingers technique in our right hand. So I'm picking all of the notes on the 4th string, and I'm using my middle finger to play the note on the high E string. So I'm playing this to the 1st and 4th string together, then just the 1st string. Then on the next beat I'm doing a triplet. That's playing the 4th string, 1st string and 4th string. Then on the next beat I'm going down to the 3rd fret on the D string. I'm playing the 2 strings together and then just the top string. And then I'm going down to the 2nd fret on the D string and playing them both together. So let me just play that whole turnaround slowly. And then just for the 5 chord at the end, I'm just hinting at an E7 chord. I'm doing this. I'm hammering on from the open 3rd string to the 1st fret. I'm playing the top string, the high E string, open, and then I'm playing the 3rd fret on the B string. So that's the whole turnaround. And that's the end of our first 8-bar chorus. Now in the second chorus that you heard me play at the start of the lesson, I took a slightly different approach. I was playing a riff-based approach, which I was then just moving up and down the neck to fit the chords in the 8-bar blues progression. The riff I was playing was this one. And I like to see this riff as fitting around an A bar chord. So we're in the 5th position here. This A bar chord is our home chord, and we're playing the 7th fret on the 4th string. Then we're playing the 5th fret on both the 2nd and 3rd strings. I'm barring that with my 1st finger. I'm playing that, and immediately I'm hammering on with my 2nd finger to the 6th fret on the 3rd string, like this. So we're hammering from the flattened 3rd to the 3rd of an A chord for that nice bluesy sound. So we've got this. Then I'm going to play the 7th fret on the 2nd and 3rd strings together. I'm just barring that with my 3rd finger. Then we're going back to our 1st finger at the 5th fret, and we're hammering on again to the 6th fret, and then finally we're playing our A note again at the 7th fret on the 4th string. So that's our basic riff. And the rhythm I was playing it in was this. It was 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. In fact, I think I was playing a 2-bar pattern which went like this. 1, 4, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and something like that. So that's our basic riff for our A chord, and we need to just transpose that riff to fit the other 2 chords in the blues. So that fits the A chord. For the E chord, our 5 chord, we can just move the whole thing up to the 12th position and do exactly the same thing. And then for the 4 chord, it's going to be 2 frets lower than the 5 chord, so we have this. So let me play through an 8-bar blues using this riff type approach. Remember, with this particular rhythm, you're not coming in on beat 1, you're coming in on the and of 1. So just be a little bit careful with your counting there. And also remember that it's a 2-bar rhythm pattern, which stays the same throughout the piece, but you will be changing chords sometimes halfway through that rhythm pattern to make it consistent with the 8-bar form. So if I just play it, hopefully that will all become a bit clearer. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 4 chord. 1 chord. 5 and 1. Just down the last 5 chord, I played it down an octave. You've got that option on the E7 chord. You can either play it up in the 12th position or play the whole thing 12 frets lower with some open strings, just as an alternative option. You can also throw in that same turnaround to this particular approach as well, and just play that on the last bar. Well, that's it for this lesson, and indeed for this series of lessons on blues rhythm guitar. I hope you have some fun playing the 8-bar blues. It's a really good blues form to be aware of, and it's a particularly good fun blues to jam on with other people. If you find yourself getting bored doing the same old 12-bar blues jams, this is a really good and interesting alternative. As usual, check out the website where you will find transcriptions of the music that I played in this lesson, and also a backing track that you can jam along to. That's a really good way of working on your timing and your feel. That's it. Have fun, and I hope to see you for some more lessons very soon. Bye bye.